I've stopped nagging my husband, and I'm happier. I want to start off by saying this is not one of those just shut up and stay silent type of things. I have stopped nagging my husband, and I can say from the bottom of my heart, I am so much happier. My husband has always told me that I overreact too much, that I get too worked up, and that I am constantly nagging him. We fight constantly about him not putting enough effort into our relationship, and him not doing his fair share of chores. I have to constantly remind him to be romantic, affectionate, and to pick up after himself. I will say that yes, I am a very emotional person. I grew up like that, and have always expressed my emotions and feelings with passion. When I am upset, I am very clear as to why, and how it can be resolved. Thanks, Mom. LOL. Recently something very big has happened. I was pregnant for ABT 5 weeks, and lost it. As the very emotional person I am, I was very sad and sulking, and crying a lot. Looking for comfort in my husband, as one does, there was none. This is how he is, he says. I'm not very emotional, and showing emotions is hard. Okay, I never blamed him for this. Trauma, childhood, whatever. I will admit that, yes, I was giving him a hard time being extra clingy. He does not like to cuddle or any mushy stuff, doesn't mind when I give it, just doesn't like to reciprocate. Again, never blamed him, wanting more love and support than I usually get from him, which is little to none. I am usually the nurturing, loving, supportive one in our relationship. It's bothered me only in big situations like this, where I truly need support and love, and any sort of comfort. Once I realized I would find absolutely no comfort in my husband and no support, I cried the entire night and stayed up replaying every instance where I had absolutely needed him and his support. Then something clicked, something shifted. I shouldn't give if I don't receive, so I stopped. Everything. Love, support, nurturing, any physical intimacy, kissing, cuddling, etc. I stopped telling him what needed to be done, I stopped asking for romance, and well, everything. I stopped nagging, as he would say. Once I did this, he immediately noticed. When he's at work, I usually give him updates about our 1-year-old and call to check in. Once he's home, I usually greet him with love and support from the workday. I usually listen to his long rants, ABT his hobbies. This time, I did nothing. I give him head rubs and back scratches at night. I usually tell him he's so handsome and how much I absolutely adore him, ABT 100 times a day. Again, I'm very passionate, nothing. I'm usually on him about work assignments, what needs to be done around the house, I need help on, how to manage our baby once he's home. I tell him to pick up after himself. I tell him to be romantic back and reassure me. Nothing. It's been about a week, and my mental health has gotten so much better. I feel like when I had to manage 2 toddlers, now I have to manage only 1. I have more free time for myself. I don't ask or listen to him ABT his day. I don't worry ABT him like I usually do. I pick up after my babies and my messes only. I don't have nearly as much to manage as I used to, and I feel so free. On the other hand, he is constantly asking me what's wrong, he's constantly checking in with me, he's doing all the things I usually would beg from him. He's being more physically intimate, although I'm the one rejecting now. He's asked on multiple occasions if I have fallen out of love with him, and he's even tried apologizing for the way he's acted in the past. Telling me he knows he took me for granted, even trying to give me the support I needed in the first initial days. I begged for it. I will have you glad to hear, or maybe not. I am absolutely not reciprocating or forgiving this so easily, and I have no intentions of stopping. I don't even know if I ever want to. I feel so happy, like a weight has lifted off my shoulders. I don't care if it makes me a bad person. I like that he is now feeling and carrying the weight that I carried for so long. Edit. As many of you have suggested, a deep conversation is needed. Many of you have suggested couples therapy, which I will not be initiating. I'm no longer putting in the work for our relationship to work, so this will be on him completely, if he wants it to. I will update how the conversation goes, although I know very well it will not be taken seriously and will get shut down completely. Divorce is absolutely on my mind and something I currently want. I'm a Som, so it's a long and hard process. Lastly, thank you all for the love and support in this difficult time. It sucks that I find it in strangers on the internet, not the person I married, but truly, I express my gratitude. Comments ally, 77 right now, he's more invested in you. That's because he's trying to get things back to how they were. That won't last. If you stay on this path, eventually he will lose interest in getting back to how it was. Your marriage will become just 2 disinterested people leading separate lives, and he will look for love and affection elsewhere. OOP. Well then. Good for him. LOL. I'm done trying to win his affection and maintain a little boy. As soon as I'm well and able. Divorce. Environmental. Map 545 TBH. I think you need a divorce, sorry. OOP. This is the obvious answer. I'm a Stom, so it will be hard to divorce right away. Shartsplasm. Yeah, I think this one might be over. Please, op, do me a favor. When you are finally free, please go to some therapy. A lot of your behaviors are huge red flags of trauma responses, and I think you may repeat some bad choices if you don't dig in and figure out what's going on with you internally. OOP. I've done therapy for years and can identify my triggers. This is also why when I get absolutely zero support from my husband, I know it's his past, and I have never held it over him until now. I think I know myself, and have told all you people here that I am passionate, but that is very different from trauma responses. I think, excuse my personal opinion, wanting more comfort than usual, which is hardly any, from my very emotionally distant husband during a very emotional and hard time in my life is perfectly respectable. Shelby Cobra 90, so he was always aware of what it took to be a good partner to you, and was always capable of it. But you needing his support wasn't a good enough reason for any of that effort. He is no longer getting yours. He doesn't care about your experience of life. Only his. OOP, honestly, I have been contemplating and thinking about this a lot. He has always been completely capable, but it took me to be emotionally checked out from him to start. I agree, and think you are absolutely correct in his not caring about my experiences in life, especially ones where his support is needed. Update: I've stopped nagging my husband, and I'm happier. A few of the commenters have asked for an update, and after many discussions with my husband, I have a sufficient one to give you all. Over the last few days since I've posted, a lot has happened. Firstly, and mainly, the day after I posted, my husband and I had a serious one-on-one talk. I mainly started with the fact that I wanted a divorce, as his lack of basically everything in our marriage from the very beginning of it has finally caught up with me. I told him, I am completely and utterly exhausted and have absolutely zero energy to fight for our relationship anymore. His response was something I did not expect. I initially thought that he would shut me down and take it as unserious, so I then planned to proceed with a divorce. But to my surprise, he broke down in tears. He completely blew my mind. I've only seen him cry a handful of times, recounting his childhood. Anyway, he took full accountability, telling me he knows his lack of emotions and support has affected our relationship and me deeply, and he wants to change. I told him I still wanted a divorce even if he did change. I told him how he could always act this way with me. It just took me completely shutting down for him to start. He says because of me giving him the treatment he's been giving me these past few years, that he finally realized how it feels to be in my position. He finally understood how I felt all this time. This was a 2-hour conversation. The next day, we talked more. At this point, my mind is still made up about divorcing. I don't and still can't understand how someone will tell you how it feels to be treated a certain way, and the only way you'll comprehend is if it's done to you. Anyway, another day of talking, he wants to get couples counseling and he's joined a 26-week course on how to compromise in marriage. I still make it clear I want a divorce. I can't shake the feeling of having to give him his own medicine for him to understand. More pleading from him to give him this one last chance, and he promises to do better. I told him I want lasting change that will be built on a solid foundation. Not changing for a few days, then return after I'm invested again. As many of you have said, I really want to avoid this at all costs. I don't plan on being invested in our marriage at all from this point until there's genuine change, and until we can talk to a couples therapist. I have also told him this, I will not be giving any more than I have received these last few years. As a lot of you have said, I carry 100% of the emotional and physical, mental load of our relationship and household, and now I will only be putting that energy into my baby. I have also joined a support group for wives. I start in the middle of March. I also joined a new parent support program, so a worker comes in and gives parenting advice and guidance to new parents, which my husband participates in. So, a lot has happened in the past 4 days. Again, divorce is still on the table at this point for me. I want to see real change, and not BS. I want someone who gives a shit when important things happen to me. I am not forgiving him, nor am I forgetting. I am just riding this wave, and this is the last leg I stand on. If therapy doesn't work and set him straight, my baby and I are gone. I hope my update satisfies you all. It's been an absolute monster roller coaster of emotions. Thank you again for the support. Comments: Antioch 666 downvoted. Good that he's at least trying, and I agree with everything except that if he doesn't change, the baby and I am gone, if that implies taking custody from him. The one who will be hurt the most will be your own child by depriving it of its father. OOP, one thing we did discuss, I'll share with you all, is what a divorce will look like. My child is mainly attached to me as I'm the primary caregiver, and OFC, he would be in our baby's life. More so, the baby would be with me mainly. We both agreed on this. It's better for both situations if a divorce is to happen. At this point, my child's emotional well-being is my top priority, so this is why I joined a program to help manage. Divorce is something we heavily discussed, and something I explained vigorously that I wanted. He promised change, and initiated couples counseling therapy, so we will see how it goes from here. Thank you, have a good day.